Hey, what is going on, guys? It is Young here, and today I'm back in our Fortnite video. And in today's video, I'm going to give you guys some tips and tricks on how to win more gunfights, and as well just some different things you can do to just be more consistent and just going into fights and just being able to win more of those consistently. And before we get into the video, I have a V-Buck giveaway. If you guys want a chance to win some free V-Bucks, all you need to do is to drop a like on this video, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, turn on my notifications, and leave a comment down below of your Xbox gamer tag, your PSN gamer tag, or Epic account. And as well, if you guys don't already, make sure you guys have me added and supported as a creator. It's super simple to do. All you need to do is go to the item shop, then just tap X and hit support a creator, and then type in my code. It's the same as my gamer tag. Just type in Young Humor and you will have me added and supported as a creator. And alright guys, let's get right to the video. Alright, so here in this video for the gameplay in the background, it is actually a 21 kill solo squad game. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't run into the sweatiest players in the lobby. It wasn't the hardest 21 kill game I've ever had. But either way, 20 kills is still 20 kills. So in this video, I wanted to be talking about how to win more gunfights and just different things you can do just to be more consistent in this game and just win more gunfights over and over again. So probably the first thing that I want to talk about, and I mentioned this a little bit ago, most of you guys probably haven't seen the video. I think I did it about a month and a half ago. But basically, I talked in that video about, so when it comes to just being more consistent in Fortnite, there's one thing that you definitely want to do, and you definitely want to minimize 50-50 gunfights. And as well, when it comes to 50-50 gunfights, you also want to try to minimize the amount of bloom that you have. And when it comes to bloom in Fortnite, I mean, your shot could be right on them and then you could miss 5 or 6 shots in a row when they really all should be hitting. So when it comes to just stuff like that, it's going to happen a lot of the times. And if you're constantly relying on just having good bloom to win gunfights, then you're going to be disappointed time after time again. So there is a few ways to go about this. And so the first thing that you can do is when it comes to getting shots on with your AR, the best thing you can do is just try to get shots off when they're not looking at you. Maybe it's before you engage in a gunfight, maybe in a duo game or a squad game, maybe your teammate is distracting another player and you're able to get shots at them when they're not looking. So you have that ability to have that first shot accuracy, and once you have that first shot accuracy, of course there's going to be no bloom on that shot and it's going to go exactly where you want it to. And as well, for console players, you can use aim assist. That is really helpful, and you're going to line up your shots every single time. But with that being said, it really can be hard when it comes to challenging players in a consistent basis, especially if they're already looking at you or shooting on you, because a lot of times, a lot of players that I run into in this game, a lot of players do have sniper rifles. And trust me, when it comes to peeking someone with a sniper rifle, you definitely don't want to be standing still, because that is going to be the easiest way to get shots off. But at the same time, when it comes to standing still in Fortnite, that is also going to be the best way for other people to get tags on you. But at the same time, best way for you to get tags on them, because when you're standing still, you're going to have the least amount of bloom. And of course, if they're standing still with a sniper rifle hard scope in the corner, it probably is in your best interest not to peek it. So one thing that I like to do as much as I possibly can is, so of course I would get those first few shots that I can with the AR, and then after that I really don't do too much shots with the AR unless I know I have a wide open shot on them, or I know I can get a lot of tags on them without them shooting back at me. But when it comes to my playstyle and when it comes to going for kills, I like to stay as close quarters as possible, and you guys are about to see that right here. So I got the first down on that player, and I do believe he had 2 more teammates. One was by the supply drop and then the other guy was on the left side. So I had the down on that player, 2 other players remaining in that squad, and as well there was a plane coming from the left side that was going to distract him a little bit. So I sat back for a little bit of time just to get a little bit more tags because they weren't focused on me yet. And as soon as they stopped moving across, as soon as they stopped going into the open, that is when I want to go for the push. Because if I just kept sitting back and try to go for shots, I guarantee one of the players over there would have for sure had a sniper rifle, or one of them would have got a headshot on me for sure, and it just really wouldn't have been that good of a situation. So I got the first knock on that player, and then right after that knock, I looked for any other shots that I could possibly get. If I really don't see any other shots that I could get, the next thing that I'm going to do is just straight up rush like I'm doing here. And I really was choking my shots, I was choking my builds, it really wasn't going too well. But for some reason, some of my builds weren't placing. Like that wall should have placed for sure because of turbo build, but for whatever reason it didn't place. So here I'm going for high ground, I get a pretty good shot on him right there. And from this point, I want to play really aggressive, otherwise this guy's going to keep building up higher and higher, and I still have that other plane to worry about. So I'm going over the team that I'm going to be fighting in Loot Lake. I shoot an RPG at the guy in the turret, which honestly is the best counter to someone who's in a turret. It's just an RPG just to break the structure. But if they have a turret on the floor, pretty much your only option is to wait for the cooldown timer to try to go for a shot on them, or just to shoot an RPG, because if you shoot an RPG, they pretty much have to move every single time. And I'm not gonna lie, I was definitely choking my shots in this player. He was just getting his builds off in time. But I would say the next thing that I want to talk about when it comes to winning more gunfights and just being more consistent, it really comes down to just knowing when to play high ground and then just knowing when to play low ground, because that really is a big skill to have, and knowing how to play low ground, because you're not always going to have that height advantage. Of course, you always want to try to have height advantage as much as you can, but at the same time, eventually some players are going to be overbuilding, they're going to be way above you, and you're just going to have to know how to play low ground and then just different situations to know when to play low ground. And for me, one thing that I've been doing is I definitely realized that having high ground is such an advantage, especially in a game like squads or maybe even just duos if I'm fighting multiple people. High ground is such an important thing. So one thing that I've been doing a lot, that I mentioned in a lot of my videos, is I am using the redeploy gliders, because once I'm using the redeploy gliders, I can pretty much build however high I want to build, and if I get shot out, all I have to do basically is just drop down and then pull out a glider, and I'm not going to take any fall damage. So pretty much I can build as high as I want and then not have to worry about the consequences of getting shot down and dying to fall damage. So in that case, when I redeploy gliders, I'm going to be playing as much high ground as I possibly can. But on the other side, there's not going to be always redeployed gliders that I have. And when I don't have a redeployed glider, I always try to look to see if I have a launch pad. Because if I do have a launch pad, it will buy me a little bit more time, and I'm going to be able to build up a little bit higher. Because even if I get shot out, most of the time, unless they have a bunch of RPGs, you're at least going to have a few seconds head up to get a launch pad down before you get shot out completely and then take a lot of fall damage. So having a launch pad is going to be very crucial. But say if you don't have either, maybe it could be just a spot in the game where there's just there's just not enough loot. You don't have your launch pad, the redeploy gliders. So when it comes to playing the low ground, of course the first thing you want to do is try to go for high ground, but you only want to build up so much, and I wouldn't build too much past the point where you're going to die to fall damage, because there's going to be a lot of players, especially in a game like squads, some guy is bound to have an RPG, and it happened to me earlier today when I was playing solo squads. Is I was going against a squad, I was building up a little bit higher, and I knocked 3 of the players, and as I was knocking the players that were up in the build fight, for whatever reason, the guy at the bottom was just shooting grenade launchers and shooting the entire structure down while the guy was fighting me. It made absolutely no sense. The guy's IQ was probably under 0. It made absolutely no sense why he was shooting his own teammates down in the middle of the fight. But it is what it is. I end up losing and dying to fall damage after I had 3 knocks to the last guy. And I didn't even have enough time to drop down, because the second that I realized that the entire structure was about to break, I tried to drop really quickly, and as I was dropping down, I wasn't able to connect my builds and I died to fall damage. And it was the most annoying thing ever, especially after all those knocks, and then just dying to a player who just pretty much suicided his own teammates, which made absolutely no sense, like I said. But you know, some players in this game are really unpredictable, and there is a ton of RNG in this game, so it's just really hard to predict what players are going to do and just how to play it. And one thing that you have to be really cautious of is when you're playing that low ground. Playing low ground, like I said, is a really important skill to master. But when it comes to playing low ground, you have to be careful, especially if you're playing against multiple players, that you're gonna get pinched from a guy who's above you, and you're gonna get pinched from a guy who's below you to your side. So you're gonna get pinched, you kind of have to expect it. So you're gonna have to find out ways, so in case you get shot from literally 2 different directions. And when it comes to getting shot from multiple players, it really isn't too bad if they're coming from sort of the similar direction, but if they're from 2 completely different angles, it's going to be very hard, especially for these players who play on console, because we don't have max sensitivity, that we can't just whip our mouse across our desk and we're going to be turned around instantly and have really good turbo build. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. And if it ever comes to the point where you're getting spammed really bad from different directions, then of course you're either going to have to go for high ground initially, or either you're going to have to move out of that box and then try to relocate to try to give yourself a little bit better of an angle, because getting sprayed from 2 different directions is probably the worst thing that can happen. And one thing that I learned to do that's very crucial is, say you get into a gunfight where you lose a lot of HP, maybe like a build fight, which is exactly what happens here. If you ever want to get off a heal in a build fight, one of the best things that you can do is, first, I would at least try keeping high ground, because you always want to keep high ground as much as possible, and you really don't want to give it up for much at all. Because once you lose that high ground, and especially if you're playing against multiple players, it can be very difficult to even get off your heals, even if you try to sacrifice high ground just to get off a mini or 2. But one thing that I've been doing a lot that's been working very effective is, the second I lose a lot of HP, like I did right here, I went up as high as I could, and once I got that high ground, I got 1 shot on the other player, and I think I hit him for like 70 or 80 damage. And after you get that 1 tag on that player for a lot of damage, no matter how aggressive they are playing, I guarantee you they're going to back off a lot. So if you you can get that one good tag on them, I guarantee it's going to buy you enough time to get off that heal, because either they're going to try to pop their heals, or at least they're not going to challenge as hard as they were before. So that's honestly the best thing you can do to get a heal off in a build fight or when you get low on HP. And with that being said, that's wrap up for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys liked it. And if you guys could, drop a like on this video. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on my notifications to be notified for every single new video. And alright guys, I will see you next video.